Good morning, Nigerians, and none other topic than talk about security. TJ, just yesterday, there was this press statement from the presidency talking about giving a marching order to the police to recruit additional 20,000, which means now they have opportunity to recruit 50,000, and the DSS has been asked that they should deploy the operatives to the forest that are going to man the forest. And when you look at all those directives coming from the president, it's like now we mean business.
Well, indeed, we mean business because the matter of security is actually, they are tasked with the mandate of securing lives and property. And it's good to see that the president is actually, taking this as a very, very serious matter. Declaring a state of emergency is the first, I would say, the first of its kind in the history of our national emergency. And I would say it's kudos to the president for taking these steps. We saw at the National Assembly where there was an extensive debate, lawmakers standing against this act of terrorism and all of that. And now there's planning to repeal the Terrorism Act to classify kidnapping as a terrorism act that would attract a death penalty. I would say all these steps being taken is actually decisive, that would serve as a deterrent. It just shows it will go a long way to show the implementation of all these reforms.
Exactly. I was going to talk about that.
Yes, it's not just about putting all these laws in place and making how far-reaching.
Give it enough teeth to bite.
Indeed. So I would say the steps being taken so far are quite welcoming, but implementation is one way that we should.
And I hope also very soon we're going to get to begin to see the sponsors of terrorism and all those people being named and shamed, and we actually see actual prosecution taking place.
Yeah, I think that's one call from the senators yesterday. Name these people. You always say we know where they are. We know who these people are. Okay, if you know where they are, go after them. Name them. Who are their sponsors? Let us know, and and the right actions are being taken against them. I think it's high time that we go take a different route from what we do before, and actually take decisive action to end this act. A lot of Nigerians are suffering, lives are being lost, people are being traumatized, and I think an end has come to
we're entering the December period, the Yuletide period, that a lot of traveling and movement is going to happen, so you need a lot of assurance that the space out there is safe, so that as people celebrate, they know that the environment around them is so safe.
We're also approaching another election cycle, so it's good that we tighten our security fast before 2027. Well, let's go into what we have for you today. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us on FCT Brief. As insecurity continues to rise across various parts of the country, the spotlight is once again on the institutions tasked with safeguarding lives and property. From banditry to kidnapping, armed robbery to communal clashes, Nigerians are asking tough questions about the effectiveness, responsiveness, and transparency of those mandated to protect them. This morning on FCT Brief, we take a closer look at how accountability within security agencies can either strengthen or weaken the nation's overall security architecture.
In recent months, concerns have grown over operational lapses, lack of timely intelligence, allegations of corruption, and the widening gap between security agencies and the communities they serve. Experts insist that accountability is not about blame alone, but about improving performance, rebuilding public trust, and ensuring that taxpayer resources yield visible security outcomes. As government rolls out new strategies and reforms, the demand for greater oversight has become louder and more urgent. For more on these issues, we are joined by Jide Ojo, a renowned public affairs analyst. He will share his insights on institutional readiness, structural gaps, accountability mechanisms, and what must change for Nigeria to truly turn the tide against insecurity. It's nice to have you join us this morning.
My pleasure, Shamamu.
You're welcome.
Let's start this way. Just yesterday, Mr. President declared a national emergency and gave some marching order to the police, to the DSS, and to all the security agencies. Is this a sign of new development, new spontaneous reaction to issues?
Well, it's a welcome development. I appreciate the fact that the president has come to realize that we are actually in a state of war. And in a state of war, you don't treat leprosy with medicine for ringworm. you need to take appropriate measure. Incidentally, in my column in the Punch newspaper, I weighed it. In fact, this month, this is the third or fourth article I've written. Out of 4 weeks of my commentary this week, 3 had been on issue around security, conflict management, and all of that. And it's heartwarming that right steps are being taken to contain the situation, because it's like we've been treating this issue with kid's glove over the decades, and I just hope for proper implementation. What the president has done, like I said, is a step in the right direction, but it's not entirely something that I think will win us this war. Ultimately, if care is not taken, we need a more integrated approach. Just a few days ago, I think the DMI, Department Military Defense, they launched a counterterrorism report, which is also part of chipping. But what I want to see, for instance, let me calibrate what my own take on what the president did yesterday. He wants more boots on ground. So he has asked that the police will recruit about 50,000, initially 30,000, additional 20,000, but that they will make use of, one, the deplorable state of the training institutions is already being worked on. I think it's Peter Amba, the governor of Enugu, that is chairing the committee on that. But I don't know how far they've gone, because they were still going on assessment. And we know the deplorable situation this training institution had been before the president recently declared state of emergency. So what measures have been taken to improve and upgrade the facilities in those training institutions? And again, he's asking that orientation camps for youth corps members should be converted to training centers for these 50,000 police. And I wonder whether the orientation camps have the facilities to train the police beyond just, I did my youth service in Delta States. I went through the whole log, the routine march and all of that. There are no facilities in those orientation camps. So you need to upgrade, you need to procure, and that may take a bit of time. So he's also telling elders to stop open grazing. And I see that as an appeasement of sort. Because what the president said, I established the Ministry of Livestock Development because of these reasons. We should stop open grazing. People should embrace ranching. Buhari said this in 8 years. It never happened. Unless you take tough decisions, what is the time that the president has given for this open grazing to stop? The other day I was coming from a TV station during the November 8th gubernatorial election analysis, and I was descending Padumahi. And Lord, I had to park for cattle to pass at Asokoro area here in Abuja. You know, Asokoro is the eyebrow area of Abuja. I wonder where the grass is in Asokoro, that you are herding cattle in the city center. We are not talking of satellite communities where I live. I had to park in fact, I took picture. I still have that picture on my phone. In Asokoro, where you have all the state licensing offices, 36 of them, and you still have cattle being grazed in those areas. Just over the weekend, I came for a travel. In the precinct of our airport, cattle are still being grazed. So what the president said yesterday was more like an, okay, I also remember this, but what are the definitive measures? If it is to give a marching order to Ministry of Livestock Development, work with these people 6 months max. I don't want to see any cattle being grazed on Nigerian roads or Nigerian communities. If you want to incentivize the elders, if you want to set aside money for them to form them into cooperatives, help them to set up cattle. We have the livestock transformation plan, which was put together by a immediate past administration of Buhari. What has happened with the implementation? So these are measures that can also help, because much of this conflict, particularly in North Central area, is bordering on issue of elders, farmers clashes. Then the president also did mention that schools should not be set up, boarding schools should not be set up in remote communities. Governors should think about ensuring that if they are setting up schools in hard-to-reach environment or in very far-flung places, they should not be boarding. That is advisable, because we are still going to have ungoverned spaces, whether you like it or not. Yeah. Even with 1 million, recruit 1 million personnel today, you will still have an ungoverned. Nigeria is very huge in terms of land population. So that is a. But National Assembly, I've always, in the last 3-5 years, I've been calling on National Assembly, pass this legislation on state police. I think the president also reiterated that yesterday.
I think it's becoming an indictment of the National Assembly to do it fast.
Well, maybe they were looking at the body language of the president until about 4 or 5 months ago, that the president openly, when he received the delegation from Katsina, that, the president now said, I'm fully in support of, state police. I think that's where the National Assembly now picks interest. But they need to fast track that. Because I had Governor Obasanjo of Kaduna, the Southwest governors met this week, 6 of them in Ibadan. They are calling for state police, because the Amotekun that they have set up cannot carry AK-47. It's just all these rifles, then gun and pump action. When elders, as we saw in Kwara, elders come with AK-47, AK-49. So you need to upgrade this Amotekun and other vigilante groups. Right, the only way you can do that is when you have a proper legislation that can enable states who has the resources to set up a proper state police.
All right, very well said. And yesterday, the National Assembly held a very extensive debate on national security. We'll talk more about that right after the short break. Don't go anywhere. We still have more. Stay with us. Now we head straight back into our conversation on national security. Now, Mr. Ojo, I was saying that yesterday the Senate sat and debated extensively on national security, and they arrived at so many resolutions. One of them is they actually said that security is everyone's business and no one should absorb themselves from it. Starting from themselves, we saw the dissolution of 2 critical committees yesterday. That's the Committee on Air Force and National Security and Intelligence. They dissolved that committee yesterday. And also, the other security committees are expected to brief them on their activities so far in a closed session. One other thing is they're pointing to the governors. They're asking the governors, what exactly are you doing to support President Tinubu in this fight against insecurity? Because, of course, you are in charge of your states and you can't absolve yourself from the blame as well. I would say that, would it be a case of total negligence and lack of political will so far that allowed this issue to degenerate to this extent, and now is sort of like they are just waking up and saying that, we are actually caught in the middle?
No, you see, you see these kind of actions when the elite are also becoming victims. It's like COVID-19. Look at the spontaneous reactions from the presidency during COVID-19. Because what presidents were having COVID, Donald Trump had, the UK Prime Minister had. So Buhari was always wearing masks, and anybody coming to him, you have to do, because it affected them. There was a lockdown. Now, they are waking up because the president said, withdraw police escort from everybody. You had that yesterday. They said, no, Mr. President, don't do this. Because now we are vulnerable. These people are saying that they are going to start targeting politicians. So they now realize that they will not have the comfort of going to their communities with a battalion of soldiers and police to protect them when they go to their villages. And so it's good. In fact, as I said in my column yesterday, where I was talking of early warning and early response as a conflict management tool, I said, over the time, we have early warning, but how has our response been? You pointed to issue around having committees, multiple committees. The leadership of National Assembly just set up those committees as, patronage for those who supported their ascension to those seats. So, Esho Omo supported me. He has to be chairman of military, maybe defense. You will be chairman of Navy. Everybody just get, even when there is no funding for those committees to go on oversight. Are you surprised that it is the agency that you are going to oversee that usually foots the logistics of those who go on those oversight? Is that appropriate? Is that the way it's done elsewhere? If you pay the piper, will you not dictate the tunes? If I give you a business class to come and oversee my agency, gives you accommodation, and when you have come and you are leaving, I give you very handsome, or I made prayers into your email, as they say, how will you come and indict me that I'm not performing? So everybody was jostling for chairman or vice chairman position. And that is why there are so many committees that in 4 years, some of them never sat twice after their inauguration, because there is no funding, and at the end of the day, they just go with the title and chairman of this. So the privileges that come with the chairmanship position is what they were after. But it's good. And then when you talk about the state, a lot more is expected of state government. Why? They collect security votes. What do they do with that security vote? Security votes of some governors is in billions per month. Billions. And because there is no accountability quotient, there is no retirement of security votes. In fact, organizing prayer session is perceived as part of security. You saw Governor Zulu. Did he not declare a day of fasting and prayer this week? That's part of security. Let's pray to God. It's part of security to come and secure us. We lived for God what we should do ourselves. Do you know, about 2016 or 2017, there was something that shocked me, which I read in the paper. It's now been contradicted, where Ibrahim Magu, former EFCC chairman, openly told governors at that time that we had it on good authority that some of you orchestrate conflict, crisis in your state because you want to jack up your security vote. That's the governors. That's the governors. He was indicting them. Ibrahim Magu, you can fact check me on this, that he had it on intelligence as some governors will deliberately orchestrate problem in their state because they want to be able to convince the state assembly to increase their, security vote. So you have facts. What do these governors do with security vote? 500 million, 1 billion every month. You just buy 20 operational vehicles for police, pocket the rest. Nobody asks, what do you do? And there is also this element of mole and fifth columnists that needs to be tackled. Because if you listen to what the governor Nasir of Kebbi said, they had intelligence from DSS that abduction was going to happen. The DSS, they said soldiers were deployed to that school, MAGA school. But the soldiers left, and in less than 40-45 minutes after the soldiers were removed, the attack took place, 25 people were abducted. So what happened? We've seen the case with Brigadier General Musa Uba, who was shot by ISWAP. How come ISWAP was able to intercept the intelligence? People said there should have been a dedicated communication line between the field officers and the control room, not using an open source.
Mr. Ojo, that brings us to something. This is a national emergency. Sure. And I guess national emergency gives some emergency powers also to the president.
Yeah.
Now, that was purely a military operation.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about accountability.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we be asking our military chiefs to explain to Nigerians what happened in Kebbi? Now, people are saying, President asked questions. Shouldn't we be asking, we have a chief of defense, we have a chief of army, we have a chief of navy, we have a chief of intelligence.
The garrison commander.
Exactly. We should be asking them. They should tell Nigerians what exactly happened. Probably we don't know. Maybe they will educate us better what exactly happened.
The issue is esprit de corps. usually when these things happen, and we have had this time and again, and let me also put this in public domain. I don't know whether you've listened to the governor of Zamfara State, who said they know where the bandits are. They know their capacity. He said on his own, he can tell you this is the location of this.
So why is it difficult?
Why is it difficult for the military to go after them?
Well,
so there is a political economy of insecurity.
It's important I mention that the Senate, as part of this resolution, has also resolved to investigate this matter that led to, the killing of Brigadier General Musa Uba, and also the abduction of those 25 girls who ordered the withdrawal of those personnel. But part of their resolution yesterday was also to amend the Terrorism Act to ensure that, kidnapping is classified as a terrorist act, and also a maximum punishment of a death sentence attached. How far-reaching will this be if it's actually effected?
TJ, should I be truthful with you? I don't have confidence in our National Assembly on all this investigating probe and all of that. Where has it led us? Over the years, they've been having security summit like every quarter. They've been having probes like every day. What has happened with the reports of those probes? It gathers dust. This is the time for action, not time for all this talk shop and earmarking and sitting in five-star hotel and calling people, and then you get estacos or you get DT. This is the time for action. The military, the president needs to have his eye on the ball, because at the end of the day, whatever magic he did with the economy, people will forget if they are insecure. Section 14, subsection 2B of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has altered, said security and welfare of citizens shall be the primary purpose of government. Forget the legislature. They know what they are doing. They are only concerned now because they are feeling insecure. They know that it's festive period, the election period, and when there are no school children to adopt, they will start. It's been happening where they adopt some House of Reps members, State House of Assembly members, and demanded for ransom. So they don't want that to also go up. So that's why they are taking all this panicking measures. But we need to be calm and very logical and sequential in our planning if we are going to achieve any result. The reason why I'm calling for this, because in a state of confusion, everybody is doing something, overlapping comes and all of that. The point is, can we strengthen and complement what the president has said, recruiting more people? Can we complement it with first forming a volunteer force of retired security personnel, soldiers, DSS, police? Some of them are active. They are well trained. They retire prematurely. Recall that when General Musa was sacked and other service chiefs, over 100 other generals had to leave even when it is not time for their retirement, because they cannot be serving under their junior.
All right.
These are people that we can also constitute into a volunteer force, incentivize. They have the experience. They know how to handle weapons. They can help with community policing to better secure the various
we still have
communities.
A little more to discuss on this, but we'll come back to that right after this break with Mr. Jide Ojo.
Yeah. Earlier you talked about the fifth columnist. That's always there. Now, the president, there is this national emergency just declared by Mr. President, and probably the fifth columnist is already thinking how to make it not to work.
Exactly.
Now, with that idea of those who want everything to fail because of the economy in this crisis, what do you think can be done so that every directive is fulfilled to the letter?
A lot can be done, and the president needs to really have his ear to the ground. There are those who, violence entrepreneurs, those who gain from this kind of crisis, because there will be procurement, there will be money. Now, we need to also investigate how has previous disbursement been used. Those generals who are living above their pay grades, who have mansions all over, who have shopping malls all over, where did they source the money? As a general, we know you are on salary. So what business were you doing to amass so much wealth, have properties all over, including abroad? Don't forget what happened under Buhari, where $2.1 billion was earmarked for procurement of Arsenal, and it got diverted into re-election bid of former President Goodluck Jonathan, and part of it was used to procure substandard military hardware. We know former NSA, Ibrahim Dasuki, was arrested, investigated for many years. Nothing has come out of it. So that is to tell you the political economy. There are those who profit from this kind of situation, and they need to be dealt with. We need to also see punishment. In fact, I am saying all these arrests, and then you go through the long trials of 10 years, somebody, Boko Haram, insurgents, terrorists, arrested, and they go through the normal court process. That should stop. Set up tribunals. Within 6 months, let them deal with these people. If you are guilty, face the firing squad. These are people who have murdered. And then we need to revise Operation Safe Corridor and all these amnesty programs. You know, the National Assembly also have come up that I think there is a bill they are mooting that you should not settle, you should not pay ransom. I don't know how that will be feasible, but issue of amnesty, I think we are using the Niger Delta templates to think that it will work in northern Nigeria. It's not working. You have given amnesty to people 3-6 months down the line, they are back into their helmet and causing acts of terror all over the place. So we need to revisit, do we want to continue along this trajectory of giving amnesty, this Operation Safe Corridor that you are saying you are doing the radicalization? We need to review that. The other point I need to make is that background checks matter. In this emergency, we want to recruit more. Are we going to be doing sufficient background checks that we are not recruiting terrorists into the fold of the military and police, who will then begin to serve as moles for those people? Because when you are in an emergency situation, everybody just come inside. I remember in the 60s when there was shortage of teachers after the declaration of free education in the Southwest. Everybody come inside. You don't even need to have grade 2. You just secondary school is enough to come and. In fact, we imported teachers from Ghana at that time. So we are in that situation where people are always welcome, but we need to do some background check, which is why I said we need to hurry slowly, particularly with this recruitment and training, because you don't want to bring in armed robbers, terrorists, kidnappers, and bandits and insurgents into the same fold, because once they know the modus operandi, they will be able to link and communicate with their headquarters or their cells. So we need to do a whole lot, but I think one step at a time. We need the laws, review the laws, but while you are reviewing the laws, consider this issue of, in a war situation, you call the reserves to come and help. We can also do that because they have the experience. Call the armed forces who have retired but active, soldiers, police who have retired and active. Let them also help.
Mr. Ojo, all hands must be on deck in this security matter, and it's good that we see that the government is taking action. How far-reaching that will be, well, it remains to be seen. Thank you so much for your time with us on the